lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia. If you're new to my channel, I would like to officially welcome you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today's tutorial is going to be to make this baby blanket here. This is going to be a baby girl blanket, and of course you can make it for a baby boy. You can make it in unisex as well. I'm just making this one in particular for the baby girl. Okay, this is going to be a very easy one to do. So I will show you guys how to do it in a sample size, and I'm going to be making it in a different size of yarn. So this one here was a lightweight number 3. I will put all the information about this yarn in the description box, as well as how much I ended up using it to make the size that I have here, which is about 40 inches. Okay, and it's a square in shape, so it's 40 inches on all sides. And I'm gonna be using a medium weight number 4 to do a small sample to show you guys how to do this pattern here. And as you guys can see, it's gonna turn out really good no matter what size of yarn you use. And I did it in this size, which is a lightweight number 3, just so it's a little bit lighter, and also so that it's a little bit gappy like this as well. So this design makes it a little bit gappy so that it's not extremely hot. So if you do it in a medium weight, it's gonna be a little bit of a bulky or chunky blanket. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and I will show you guys what I'm using, and then we can go ahead and get started. Okay guys, so this is the yarn that I'll be using for the sample I'm doing for this baby blanket. So this is a medium weight number 4. It's just a normal worsted weight yarn. And for this one, like the actual blanket that I've completed, like I said, it is a lightweight number 3. I will put all the information about this yarn in the description box. I'm not gonna talk too much about this yarn because I'm just using it to do the sample. Okay, so for this blanket here, I did use a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook, but because I'm using this medium weight number 4, I'm going to be using a 5 millimeter crochet hook, or H8. Okay, so, and I just have a tape measure to determine how wide I want or how big my baby blanket is going to be. And of course, a scissors is always something that you need to be able to cut your strands. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put everything away, and we can go ahead and get started. Okay guys, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with our sample for the blanket here. So I'm going to start by doing a slip knot, just like that. And then when you have your slip knot created, you're going to do the number of chains that you require for your blanket. And with this pattern, it's going to work up with multiples of 4 plus 1. Okay, so for my sample, I'm going to do multiples of 4 until I get to 44. Then I'll add one more to make it 45. For my completed blanket here, I did multiples of 4 until I got to 200. And then I added one more to make it 201. Okay, so this is going to give me 40 inches for the blanket, and it's a square, so it's 40 inches no matter what size you're measuring it from. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my chain of 44 plus 1. So 1, 2, 3. Okay guys, so I have my chain of 45 here. Okay, so just because it's a sample, it's small, so if you're making a full blanket, it will obviously be a lot more chains than this. Okay, now that we have our chain, we're going to start by doing half double crochets in the back of this foundation chain, and we're going to skip this first chain here, and in the second one we're going to go in the back, and we're just going to grab that back stitch and do a half double crochet, and then we're going to go into the next stitch and do a half double crochet. And keep in mind, you're working in the back of this chain, so you're not picking up this front stitch here, you're flipping it, and then you're grabbing this back of it here. Okay, so you're gonna do this all the way until you get to the end of the chain. So this would be our first row. So, and then when you have gotten there, you're going to come back, and then I will show you how to start the second row, which is going to be the repeat row pretty much until we get to the other end of the blanket. Okay, So go ahead and finish these half double crochet stitches and then come back when you have completed it. Okay guys, so I have gone ahead and completed my first row here, which is just a simple row of half double crochet stitches in the back of the chain. And by the way, for those of you who may not be aware as to why I work in the back of the chain from the foundation chain, it's because it creates these straight edges on both sides. If you looked at this on each of the edges here, it looks exactly identical. You cannot tell what side we worked from. It looks like that, okay? And I like that I like doing it like this as opposed to going through the normal front loop of the chain, where it creates a little bit more of a wavy, like a spiral type of look to it. Yeah, so I like doing it like this for that reason. So you don't have to do it like this, but I just prefer it like this. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with a second row then. So for this second row, I'm going to do a chain of 3. So 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to turn my work, and in this stitch right here next to it, I'm going to do 2 double crochets in that same stitch. Oopsie. So 1 and 2. And so with our chain 3 that we did to turn this for this row, it makes it 3. So my chain 3 counts as a double crochet, and then I did 2 more, and that makes it 3 double crochets, a cluster of 3 double crochets. Okay, and then I'm going to skip 3. So 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th I'm going to do 4 double crochets in the same stitch. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and then I'm going to pretty much alternate this all the way to the end. So I'm skipping 3 stitches. In the 4th I do 4 double crochets in the same stitch. I skip 3. In the 4th I do 4 double crochets in the same stitch, and I'm going to do this until I have 3 spaces or 3 stitches left at the end, 4 stitches left at the end. So go ahead and work with this until you get to the end, and when you have reached there, come back and I will show you how to finish off the row, and then we can start our second row. Okay, so go ahead and do this until the end. 1, 2, 3. Okay guys, so I have completed the second row of the project here, and as you can see, this is how these boxes should look like so far. Okay, and now I have my final 4 stitches to go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I'm going to be working in these final 2. And by the way, if for some reason, just because of the added up stitches, you end up with just 3 stitches at the end, it's okay. You can still finish your project and it will look absolutely fine. If you have 4, that is fine as well. So in my case here, I have 4, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. But I'll be working in these final 2 stitches. So if you were to have just 3 stitches left at the end, you would skip 1, 2, and in the 3rd one you will do 3 double crochets in that same stitch. If you have 4 like I do here, we're going to do 2 double crochets in this stitch here, and then 1 final one at the end. Okay, so I'm going to skip 1, 2, and then in this second last stitch I'm going to do 2 double crochets, and then I'm going to finish my final one at the end here. Okay, and that makes it pretty much match this side here. So we did our chain 3 when we turned, and then pretty much in the stitch after that we did 2 double crochets, and we have 3 at the end, but we have 4 in the middle part of the project. So like I said again, if you were to have 3 left at the end, so let's just undo this here and so I can show you. So let's just assume this was not there and you only had 3 left and you had to work in the last one, then you will just go right into the last one here and do 3 double crochets in that same stitch at the end, and that works just fine as well. So you would end up doing yours like this, but because I have 4 at the end, I am going to do 2 in the stitch before, and then in the final stitch I'm going to do 1 double crochet. So both of these techniques here doesn't make a difference, because I know sometimes you count your stitches and you end up with one less for some reason, or sometimes one more, instead of undoing your whole project to go back and add a stitch, you just kind of have a workaround like the one I showed you here. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do the second row, and then the third row, and then it's pretty much going to be a repeat of what we did here. So we're going to do a row here of the half double crochet. So we're going to chain one for this row and turn, and then in every stitch from here on, you're going to do your half double crochets across your row. And then when you get all the way to the end, we're going to start another row of these clusters of the double crochet. So for now, go ahead and do your half double crochet stitches all the way to the last one, and then come back when you have completed that. Okay, so I've done my half double crochet stitches all across here, as you can see. And now I have one final stitch to go, which is just the chain 3 that we started the previous row with. I'm just going to go right in the top of the chain 3 and do my final half double crochet there, and that's how it should look like so far. Okay, and then I'm going to chain 3 here, so 1 2 3, and I'm going to flip my work this way. And for this row, I'm going to skip 1 2 3. In this fourth stitch, I'm going to do the four double crochet stitches in the same stitch. We do half double crochet stitches and double crochet stitches, but for this row we do the row of the cluster of double crochet stitches like that. So we do 4 there, and then we move on to skipping 3. 1 2 3. In the fourth, we do 4 more double crochet stitches. Okay, and then we continue to do this all the way to the end as well. And when you have, before you go to the very last stitch, come back so I can show you how to finish the last one. But just to show you guys, as you can see here, now for this row here, our double crochet clusters are between the clusters from the previous row. So you will see that they end up, when you skip 3 and you go into the fourth stitch to do your cluster, you will find that it kind of falls in between, which is right below these spaces that we have from a couple of rows ago. Okay, so this is gonna create that diagonal pattern of these boxes that you will see. If I bring this blanket in here, oops, sorry, this color is a lot lighter, so it's super bright. So this is going to create these lines, these boxes kind of looking like they're going that way. Okay, so it's going to look something like that. So this is what that is going to create. So go ahead and work with these clusters. So make sure you're skipping 3. In the fourth stitch, you do the double crochet 4 double crochet stitches until you get to here. So your last cluster should be right below this gap here, and then I'll show you how to finish off this row, and then I will show you how to start the next row, and then we're just going to repeat that until you have the size of the blanket that you're looking for. So it's that simple. But for now, let me show you how to finish this row and then get started with the next row, because then it's going to be repeat from that point on. Okay, see you guys in a bit. So I have completed this row here, and as you can see, that is where I finished my 4 double crochet cluster. Okay, and now I have just 2 stitches to go at the end. These, again, the end here, don't worry too much about it. Sometimes you may have 3, sometimes you may have 2, but all that matters is you just go ahead and do a double crochet at the end of that, so that it has this gap like this, which is recreating kind of what we had by doing our chain 3 on the end here before we went in. Okay, so that is how this should look so far. And then now, of course, this is the next row is going to be for the half double crochet stitches. So we're going to do chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to go ahead and do our half double crochet stitches for this row, and we're going to do these all the way to the end. And then when we turn back around, we're going to be doing the cluster of the double crochet in 4 double crochets in 1 stitch. So again, I'm going to show you how to do this row all the way to the end, so I can show you how to start the next row, and then that should put us right where we're supposed to be working with this pattern. Repeat it this way until we have the size of the blanket that we're looking for. But for now, again, go ahead and complete this row of half double crochet stitches, and then when you get to the end, I will come back and show you guys how to start the next row. Okay, so I've just reached the end here. Again, I have the chain 3 from the previous row that I'm just going to use the top chain to do my final half double crochet like that. Okay, and that is the end of that row, and then I'm going to start the next row by doing a chain of 3 and turning. And for this row here, okay, as you can see, we cannot do 1 2 3 because otherwise number 4 is going to end up right here. So what we do is in this very next stitch after our chain 3, we're going to do 2 more double crochets here. Okay, so this is going to be every other row of this is going to start like this. So as you can tell, when we started the first row of after the row of the half double crochet, that first row we did a chain 3, and in the stitch right next to it we did 2 double crochets to make it 3. And as you can tell on this the next row over here, we only ended it doing it with just 1 double crochet at the end, and then it's going to alternate that way. Okay, so again, you just start this row by doing chain 3 and then 2 double crochet stitches in the next row, in the next stitch from there, and then from here on you can do your count. So 1 2 3 in number 4, you go ahead and do your 4 double crochet stitches. Okay, and then you just continue to count that way until you get all the way to the end. So again, I'm going to show you how to do it to the end of this row, and then after that I'll let you guys continue repeating. So 1 2 3 4, we do 4 double crochet stitches. So again, keep in mind, if you have the row where you're starting by doing a chain 3 and then 2 double crochets right next to it, you have to make sure you're doing 3, don't do 4. But then everything else after that, you're doing 4 double crochet stitches in the same stitch. If you miss, or if you end up doing 4 at the beginning by mistake, or you, for some reason you end up doing 3 in one of this, it's gonna mess up with your design. I made a mistake with my project here, and I worked until I was literally almost done. So I was literally at the end, and I realized at some point, instead of doing 4 double crochet stitches in one stitch, I end up doing 3, especially for the middle boxes. And so when I was just looking at my work to see how it looks, I realized my design was not matching, and I could not figure out why, and ended up going all the way back to finding out where I ended up doing 3 double crochets instead of 4, and that messed up the placement of these boxes here. And so I had to undo half of my project and pretty much go back. And that is a painful thing to do. So if you do not want to do that, make sure you're looking back at your work very often, very frequently, because you want to catch the mistake before you go too far and end up having to undo the whole project. 1 2 3 4. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and I will see you at the end. Okay, so I'm coming back at the end here, and as you can see, I still have a couple of stitches to go. It's because I wanted to show you guys how to finish off this row here. Okay, so I did my last cluster here, and so now as you can see, I have 1 2 3 4 5 stitches to go. And what I'm gonna do here is with the same thing that we did at this previous row here. I'm going to go 1 2 3 and 4. So in the 4th stitch, I'm going to do 2 double crochet stitches in the same stitch. And then of course we have our 5th stitch to go, where I'm going to do my double crochet stitch at the end. I don't know if you remember this row that we started off at the bottom here, where I did 2 double crochets in this stitch, and then we did the final one to make it 3 on this end. So that is pretty much the exact same thing that we're doing here. Okay, and then of course we go ahead and chain 1 and start the row of the half double crochet stitches. So as you can see here, you can start to see that our design is starting to come together. You see all these clusters kind of angling themselves this way. Okay, and if the same thing if you were to go this way, you know, they're all lining up like that, and that is pretty much the same thing that is with our blanket here. Okay, as you can see, our boxes are lining up that way. So what I'm gonna do here, so you pretty much repeat this until you have the size of the blanket that you're looking for. So because this is just a sample, I will do a couple of more rows just so you have enough of a size to kind of look at it carefully and understand how the pattern comes together. So I'm going to do a few more rows, and when I have a decent size, I'll come back and pretty much finish off the project with you guys. Okay, so go ahead and work on this. If you're obviously doing a full baby blanket or even like an adult blanket, it's going to be weeks, maybe months before you can finish that. So of course you just needed to know what the repeat is, which is the row of the half double crochet and then a row of these clusters of the 4 double crochets in the same stitch, with exception with the 3 that we do at the beginning of each of these rows. Okay, so go ahead and work on your project. When you have completed it or you're pretty much at the end, come back. For this, we're going to end it with a row of half double crochet. So I will work with my project until I have the final row being the half double crochet, and then I'll come back and we will look at it together. And then I'll talk a little bit about this as well, because there's something that I did a little bit different on here than what I did on the sample. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and work, and I will see you guys when you have finished your project. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so as you can see here, I added just a few more rows so we have a decent size of this sample to look at, especially this pattern that you can see. So yeah, I'm gonna stop the project here. Of course, if you're making a full blanket, you will have a while to go, but this is pretty much the repeat that you keep doing until you get to the end. And I did not do any particular borders with my blanket. If you're the type of crafter who'd like to do borders, then you could just choose any type of borders to do for your blanket. I'm gonna quickly put these away because this is pretty much the end of this here, but I'm gonna bring in the actual project that I've been working on, or like that I finished, so you guys can see the little bit of a difference of what I did here, because there's a little bit of a difference. Okay, so if I bring this guy back in, so as you can see here, this is the beginning of the project right here. Let me zoom this so that you can see. So this is the beginning of the project here. I did my foundation chain, and instead of doing the row of the half double crochet, I went right into doing my clusters of the double crochet stitches here. Okay, that is an option for you to do. If you guys remember, when we started this, we did the first row was of the half double crochet. Now, after I finished this the cluster of double crochet stitches, I did 4 rows of single crochet stitches. Because this is a lighter weight, it works better that it is single crochet as opposed to the half double crochet on the sample. And when I did those 4 rows, and then I pretty much did the same pattern that I did on the sample. The difference on the sample is that between these clusters, I did half double crochet on the sample. On the actual project, I did a single crochet. Again, this is because of the smaller size of the yarn. Okay, so that is a difference that I made on here that you can try to change if you want. If you want to do it like this, especially if you're using a thinner yarn like I am here. Okay, so I'll now take you to where the project ended, which is here, because also I did something a little bit different. So on this side, instead of just finishing it with a row of single crochet stitch across, I did 4 single crochet stitches as well. And this was mainly just so I could finish the little bit of yarn that I had left, because I finished the skein of yarn that I had for this, and I had just a tiny bit of yarn left, and I'm trying to not have so many small bundles of yarn left from every project, because then I have way too many of them. I never know what to do with them. So to just kind of use up the little bit of yarn that I had left, I decided to do 4 rows of the single crochet stitch to finish it off. So this end here and this end are a little bit different, as you can see, but that is absolutely fine. Now on the other ends where I finish off the project, I didn't do anything. I didn't do a border or anything. It's just this is just how it ended up looking from one row to another. So I did not do anything on this end and or on the other end, which is the opposite of that. This end here, I did nothing. It just stayed the same like that. And for me, it looks just fine that way. Okay, so this is going to be a choice to see how you want to finish off your project. If you want to do it like this, it's definitely a lot easier and it's more even. If you do it like I do, this end here and the other opposite end is not the same. So if that is something that you care about, then just follow this pattern here to have this side and this side be the exact same. But that's pretty much it here. So hopefully you will create a beautiful baby blanket, beautiful regular blanket for whoever you're making it for. And I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching the video all the way to the end. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, let's say you're new and you just stumble across this video and you'd like to see more things that I have already on my channel or will be making in the future, please go ahead and subscribe. Make sure you put the notification bell on for all the notifications. And I post once a week. And yeah, so that will be it. And of course, if you have any questions, make sure you put them in the description box or in the comment box below, and I will respond to you. But beside that, thank you so much again, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.